Hey everyone, it's Diabetic Danica, and I'm back in my parents' house. So as you probably know, I recently graduated nursing school, and P.S. I actually just became a registered nurse because I passed the NCLEX. Yay! I was so happy I passed on the first try. But anyway, I'm here to tell you a story today because in my other video I hinted at the fact that a lot of my insulin went bad in a car recently and I didn't give you much detail, so here's that story. So my parents came out to my graduation and then we decided to do a big family road trip. We spent like a week and a half. We went through 15 different states, including DC, which isn't really a state, but we went there too. And we stopped at a bunch of places. We went to New York City, Philadelphia, DC, Gettysburg, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Chicago, De Smet, South Dakota. We drove through Minneapolis, I think. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but then we ended it at Yellowstone in Montana, and then we went back home. Now this was right after I moved out of my apartment at school, and so that means that I had all my stuff from my apartment in my car as well, so let me just say it was a little bit packed. This also means that I had no like home base where I was leaving all my diabetes supplies, right? So I had everything with me, and that also means that I had an entire prescription worths of insulin with me because I had picked up a bunch so I wouldn't run out, and I didn't think about it. So some days we were mostly driving, but a lot of the days at the beginning especially we would stop and we would spend the whole day like sightseeing and being tourists, and then we would drive some more. So I just didn't think about the fact that usually I don't have like 5 vials of insulin with me, and I did, and so I left them in the car. Because usually I have my pump's insulin and then I have 1 vial in my purse as an extra, and I never think about the fact that there would be extras of insulin because everything that I own right now from my apartment is in my car. So I ended up leaving like 4 or 5 vials in the car in summer in like 90-degree weather. So needless to say, it went bad. And my mom was like, oh, like, why didn't you tell me? I could have put it in my purse. We could have carried it around. And I was like, I just didn't think about it. There was so much going on. I was graduating nursing school. I was saying goodbye to my friends. I was packing up my apartment, moving, and going on a big road trip all at once. And it didn't cross my mind. So that happened, and I had no extra insulin. And that was way at the beginning of the trip because as we got further into the trip, more of our days were spent just straight up driving because we had a far distance to go. So luckily, I still had quite a bit of insulin left in my pump, and then as I said, I also had an extra vial in my purse that was always with me, right? So I figured that would last me and that would be fine, and I wouldn't have to use the presumably bad insulin, but something started happening with my blood sugars towards the end of the trip where literally after every meal, no matter how much carbs really it had, I mean, I tend to eat carbs at meals, but I would spike way higher than I usually do, way higher, like 300s every single time, and then I wouldn't come down for a long time. And then overnight, I would be having 300s as well, which is not typical for me, like pretty much ever. Like for no reason it would spike up to 300. I would correct and it would just stay there. So I realized the insulin in my pump wasn't working so great either. I think it might have been because we were sitting in a hot car. Like, even though we had air conditioning, my car is like a 2004, so the air conditioning doesn't work awesome all the time, and I was like sitting in direct sunlight a lot of the time on the road trip, and I'm pretty sure the insulin in my purse and my pump also like wasn't ideal anymore. I don't think it went bad completely, but it wasn't working as well as it should. So needless to say, I didn't feel too hot with the insulin not working as well as it should. Do your job, do your job, do your job. So I ended up just like turning off my high alarm overnight because I would correct, you know, before I went to bed, and we just had very short spurts where we could sleep, and then I would just take care of it in the morning again because I just couldn't be up all night every night. And I aggressively treated, and you know, I wasn't high all the time, which is the confusing part. So you think when insulin goes bad, you know, you're gonna be high all the time, but that wasn't the case. Like, I would spike and I would like stay spiked a while, but I could also get it back down, and I would go low, or I would go into the 100s. And so it's like, oh, it is working, you know, the insulin is working, that was just a fluke. And then something happens again and it spikes and you're like, but is it working? So I guess that whole time it was kind of confusing as to whether it was even working or not. So it was not clear at all. So here's the expired insulin. Got lots of vials. it's a major waste and I feel bad about it, but there's nothing I can really do. So yeah, I have five vials. Cool. And then basically when I got back to my parents' house, I just quickly ordered some refills. Luckily I had some refills stocked up, so I hadn't used them all right on time, and so I had some backlogged, so I was able to refill my insulin right away and just pay a copay and not pay a bunch out of pocket for an early refill. But I figured if I didn't have refills, I was just going to call my endocrinologist and ask if you could please write me another prescription because I made a mistake and it went bad. So have you ever had this problem? Have you ever had insulin go bad, whether it be in too hot of weather or too cold of weather? Please let me know in the comments below. We all make mistakes, even diabetic Danica. So yeah, let me know. Thankfully my insulin is fresh now and I don't think I'll make that mistake again. Hopefully I don't leave 5 vials in the car. There's nowhere for me to put it though, but we could have carried it with us. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully I'll have a new video out really soon. Now that I'm a nurse and stuff, no more studying until I have to take the CDE exam, which is the Certified Diabetes Educator, but that won't be for a couple years, so bye.